You like my shirt? You don't have to like it, but I like it. And if you like it, I'm going to show you how to make one for yourself. So let's talk about it. The first thing you're going to need is a t-shirt. I got mine at the Hobby Lobby for $4.27, and I think it was 20% off of that. You don't have to do that. You can use a t-shirt that you already have, or you can thrift one from the Goodwill store. Any of those options will work. It's your shirt. Use whatever you want to. It can be long sleeve, short sleeve, whatever you want to use. The next thing is, you don't have to be a sewing professional to make this shirt. It's really easy to do. Again, if you know how to work a sewing machine, you're going to be able to make this work. This is a rag quilted type thing, so it's going to cover up a lot of those imperfections. And the fabric that I used was scrap fabric. This little piece here was cut off from a sweater that I shortened the sleeves on. And a lot of this is scrap and just pieces of fabric that I had around. You can use, again, whatever you want to make your turkey. It's handmade and it's your shirt, so you can use whatever you want to. And so, with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to need a piece of paper. This is just regular copy paper. You're going to need 2 circles, a 2.5 inch and a 3 inch. This is just what I grabbed up. Okay, now I know some of you are saying, Jennifer, I can't make my own pattern. Yes, you can, honey. You can do it. So I'm just going to draw a half circle here for my 2.5 inch circle. Just going to draw a half circle, and then I'm just going to bring it down and just kind of make like a teardrop shape. Can you see that? Okay. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to mark down from the top line about 5.5 inches, because that is where I want my, that's how tall I want my turkey to be. Okay. So then I'm just going to X off that part because I don't want that part. And now I'm just going to draw a 1/2 inch around, not a 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch around the whole thing. Just eyeballing it. And this is not for a seam allowance. This is to allow you to cut the edges to make it rag style. Okay? And this is going to be the feathers and the head. And so it's 5.5 this way. And the inside circle is 2.5 plus a 1/4 inch seam allowance around, okay? And that's going to be your feathers and your head, okay? Then I'm going to draw the body, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my 3 inch circle and I'm going to draw a half circle around it. And then I'm going to come down just a little bit, not much. And I'm going to draw another half circle because I want this to be, you know, oval. And I'm just going to connect the dots. You see that? Just connect the dots, okay? And this is going to be about 4.5 inches long. So it's going to be 4.5 this way. And it's a 3 inch circle. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw about a 1/4 inch around the whole thing. I'm just eyeballing it. If you want to get exact, you be exact. Feel free to do it like you want to. There's nothing wrong with it. It's your shirt. I'm just eyeballing it, okay? And this is going to be the body, the turkey body, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all of this out. And that's going to be our pattern that we're going to use. Okay, now that I have gotten my feathers and head shape cut out and my body cut out, I'm going to get my fabric. And so here's what I've chosen. I've got this brown piece here for the body. You don't have to choose brown. You can do whatever you want to do. And I'm just simply going to lay my piece down like this. And I'm going to use my, this is a heat marker. I got this one, I think, at Walmart. It came in a pack with a black and a white one. And I'm just going to trace around my piece here. And you can see there is my body shape. And I'm just going to take my scissors. It's already got my little rag quilt allowance in it. I'm just going to cut out the shape. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're just winging it. It's handmade. We want it to be whatever we want it to be. It shouldn't be complicated to sew things, okay? We're not trying to be, perfection here. And that's it. I have cut out my body. I cut 2 pieces out, okay? Now I'm going to cut a piece of batting the same way, using this pattern, to go on the inside of this. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so here's my body piece. I've cut a piece of batting. You can see I cut the batting just a shade smaller than the piece, but I've got a back piece, batting, and you're just going to make like a little sandwich there, okay? And so now we're just going to set this aside for now. And now we're going to do the same thing with our body piece, our feather piece, sorry. And so here I have just some of this scrap here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take, so this time I'm going to take my feather and headpiece, and I'll do it like this. And I'm just going to take my marker. You don't have to use a heat marker. Again, you can use a disappearing ink marker, something that is made for fabric, though. You don't want to use a pen or a pencil because that won't come out. I mean, you can cut around it, try to cut around it if you want to, but I usually just use something that'll iron out, or something that I can, that washes out. So you can see I didn't do a great job. I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to cut this piece out. Okay, so I got a front and a back there, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut a piece of batting out to go in between here. Okay, so now that I have my feather pieces done up and my body and my face completed with batting in between, just going to lay them out on my t-shirt here. And I did iron in a seam in the middle just so that I would kind of know where I was going. And I'm just going to lay my pieces out. And I do 3 feathers on each side, and then 1 in the middle. And then when I get to the other side, I just try to mirror what was on the other side. Again, it's handmade. And so we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for, what we want it to look like, what looks good to us. And so this is just to make sure that everything is not too big. And I know that this might look a little bit big on screen, but by the time we sew these down and cut the slits into each one and rag it up and wash it up, it will shrink down considerably. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gather up all my pieces. I'm going to take them over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew around them. And I'm going to show you how to do that next. Okay, so I'm over here at the sewing machine. I'm going to start with my body piece first. And we're just going to go in here, and we're just going to sew. And so doing a circle is a little, it's a little challenging. But again, this is not perfection. So you're just going to go a couple stitches, raise your presser foot, and go a few more. When you start to get in that curve, just raise your presser foot and go a couple of stitches. If you're new to sewing, this will take you a little bit of time to figure it out, but Again, it's not perfection, it's handmade. And if your sewing machine cooperates, then you're going to be good. Okay, so now I want you to look at this. Look, I boogered it up right there. It's going to be fine. Is this a perfect circle around here? No, but it's going to be fine. Okay, here's a feather. Okay, I'm going to start at the bottom because that's going to be the closest straight stitch that I can get. I'm going to be like this. And I'm always going to back stitch at the beginning, but I'm just going to go around. Okay, and then I'm going to get up here to this curve, and you can see it's a curve because you can see it's bucking right there. So I'm just going to make sure that my needle's down, lift my foot up, my presser foot up, and then just go a couple stitches. Again, make sure my foot's down, lift my foot up, my presser foot up, come across, make sure my foot's down, open it up, come on down just a little bit more, lift it up, and lift up, and come across. And then I'm just going to back stitch there as well. Okay, and let's look at this. Do you see that? That's not perfect, and it's okay. It's more of a, octagon shape there. But anyway, that's what you're going to do for each of your pieces, okay? And so when you get done with that, I'll be back. Okay, so I forgot to tell you this little piece, but you're going to need a little gizzard piece. I just took some red, this is red and polka dot, this is the only thing I had. And I just cut like a teardrop shape out. You can tell it's not even perfect. Okay, just cut a teardrop shape out. I'm just going to lay that in the middle of my little face piece, and I'm just going to sew him down too. Okay, so now that we've done that, we've sewn our little face here and our body and all of our 7 pieces. And I just wanted to show you really quick. I mean, the sewing around this is, it's not perfect. I just want you to know it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be a rag quilt. Okay, it's not going to be, you don't want it to be perfect. Okay, all right, so here's the next bit that you're going to do. You're going to need a pair of sharp scissors. I use these little, I don't know what you call them, little nippers. Anyway, they're really sharp. You can also use a pair of really sharp scissors, but you got to make sure that they're sharp. Okay, and here's what you're going to do. This is going to take you a hot minute. It's not the hardest part, but it's the most, because you have to do this constantly. Okay, so you're just going to go like this, and you're going to snip, but you're not going to snip up to the stitches. You see that? Don't snip up to the stitches. If you do accidentally snip up to the stitches, it's okay. You can take it back to your machine and just do a little, stitch it back together. But you're going to go in here and you're going to do this for each one of these. You're just going to go around and you're going to make these little cuts in here, and you're going to do it. The closer you do them together, the more it will rag up. The farther apart that you do them away, it will still rag up, but it won't make it as tight. And in some cases, I think that that's good for a rag quilt, but I'm not doing mine super tiny because this is going on a shirt. And I don't want all of that. I mean, I want it to rag up, but I don't want it to be like too tight. So you can see that's what I'm doing here. Just going in and making little slits around, not all the way up to the stitch line. And I'm also going to do that for the same thing around here. Just go up in through there and make stitches around the whole thing. And that's going to be the next thing that you do. So I'll meet you back here when I get done with that. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is make this face guy some eyeballs. Just going to go in here and mark with my heat marker where I want them. Just because, I've taken some embroidery thread that I've loaded onto this needle, and I'm just going to go and make a couple X's on his eyeballs. So I'm going to finish this up and then I will meet you back here. Okay, so I got Turkey Man's eyes on. And what I've done is just laid them back out here. Arranged them back out on my shirt to make sure that everything is where I want it to be. And I usually come down about 2 inches from the top of the thing, just so you'll know. But it's your shirt. Place it wherever you want to. If you like it down farther on your body, then do that by all means. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, and I'm just going to take off all the pieces except these 3, because these are going to be my anchor points. These are the first ones that I'm going to do. I'm going to sew down. So I'm going to use some adhesive spray. I use this brand too, but this is running low, so I'm just going to use this. It's not temporary. It's just, it's not permanent. It's temporary. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to spray the back of my thing here just to help tack it down. Spray the back. Do the same thing here. I'm just going to spray a little bit. And I'm also going to pin these things down. But you don't want to pin them to the entire shirt. You just want to do this first layer, okay? And I'm just going to put a pin through each one of these, and then I'm going to take them over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew around the same area that we did when we did these individually. So I'm going to finish pinning these, and then I'll see you at the sewing machine. Okay, so here are my 3 pieces sewn, and I'm just going to show you. Look, I got excited, and I went around this one, or maybe this one. Yeah, this one like 3 times because I wasn't paying attention. So anyway, this is what it's going to look like, and that's okay because it's homemade. We want it to look, look at this. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, that's what it's supposed to look like. So those are the 3, okay? The next step is, you guessed it. You're going to do the next 2 pieces. You're going to follow the same process, okay? And then you're going to do the next 2 pieces, and you're going to follow the same process, okay? Now, if you're really good, then you can go ahead and do all of these at one time, this section. You can base them down and pin them and then sew them all at one time. And then, of course, you do the body and the head. So, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do these pieces, these sections. I'm going to sew them just like I did these. I'm going to base them down. You're going to just sew around it, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so here it is. My little pieces sewn together. Now it's time for my body. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to spray it down. I'm going to pin it down, and I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and go around it. Okay, so I've sewed down my body here. He's all sewed down. Now I'm going to do the same thing with his head. I'm going to sew him down. All right, here's my completed turkey shirt. Now the only thing left to do is to wash my turkey in the washing machine and dry him up. Here's our turkey shirt. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I hope it inspires you to make a turkey shirt of your own. I'll see you the next time.